my positive video game memory of 2020 is a weird one, I'm sure, but it's Marvel's Avengers. I know so many people want to drag this one through the dirt, but I love this game. I had a great time with it, and at the core of that is my friend group. I had a friend out on the East Coast who got as obsessed with Marvel's Avengers as I did, and we went from, texting every so often, maybe, once a month, to playing this game nightly, really being involved with what was going on in each other's lives, and reconnecting in a way that is so special in 2020 when we can't be around each other locally. Marvel's Avengers was something that I was able to get together with a whole bunch of different friends and celebrate something on the internet.
This year's been hard for all of us, but looking back on some of the best gaming memories, it's given me the opportunity to stay home, get my game on, finally finish some of the games that have been sitting on my shelf for quite a while. It's been a lot of fun. Also this year, we got to see Vic's Basement, actually from Vic's Basement live. We saw the growth of the community, some of the biggest gaming moments, and number one for me is when Victor Lucas and Tommy Tallarico reunited live. For us on EP, that was a very special moment. Took me back to a lot of good memories. So on that, take care everybody, play forever.
My favorite video game memory of 2020 has to do with Animal Crossing. I pre-ordered it, was eagerly awaiting it, and then COVID hit. So we weren't sure if we were going to be able to get it because there was a lockdown going to be happening in Ontario. But turned out the store where I pre-ordered was going to do a midnight release outside. So my husband and I, we drove there in the dead of night, midnight. It's raining out, and we meet in this strip mall parking lot with 50 to 100 other rabid Animal Crossing fans. And at the stroke of midnight, they start coming out with the games and distributing them. And there was such a feeling of community that night that we can't talk, but we're all sharing in this experience. And that really is, to me, what typifies Animal Crossing. And that is why, with all due respect to the Video Game Awards, Animal Crossing is my game of the year.
Hey guys, I have been absolutely swamped this year working on the NES Omnibus, and I've been too busy to play much that came out in 2020. But when I was sent the Adventures of Chris for the Switch, an indie title, and they told me it was a 90s style platformer, I had to check it out. Big fan of retro gaming from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and Adventures of Chris has that great 90s platformer feel. It's got wind physics and platforming and shooting, and it's difficult, and there's enemies everywhere, and there's a lot of different environmental stages. Really harkens back to gaming on my Super Nintendo in the 90s. And it also helped just in this crazy time of 2020 just to go old school, to kick it old school on a new console. A lot of fun.
No game has made me laugh so hard as Fall Guys, especially being knocked all over the place trying to grab another jelly bean's tail.
Got this note from Taz. For me, relating to gaming, the most positive and fun thing this year has to be the live chats. Not only has COVID made things difficult, but I have also been recovering from multiple injuries this year. The chat from both other E-Peeps and Vic, as well as the post-party happening in the EP Discord server, have helped me keep going throughout the year.
When I think of 2020 and any moments that stand out for me is very early into the pandemic, a lot of us couldn't meet to play games together. And the first game, Level 857, was actually able to meet up and play a game together was Streets of Rage 4. We're all very big fans of beat 'em up genre, very big fans of Streets of Rage from 1, 2, and 3. And the fact that they actually made it 4 players got us very excited. And we actually had to wait a while before we could meet in person during this and actually play the game. And when we finally played it, it was magic. It was such a great moment, and the laughs were there, and the talking smack and all that good stuff while playing the game. And we had so much fun with it, and we still play it to this day.
What video games provided for me in 2020 was a great way of chatting and having fun with friends in different gaming communities and not to feel alone. There were also many games that really kept me hooked on and became a great distraction from all of the worries and stress. And one of my greatest moments was playing Final Fantasy VII Remake and seeing how it's surprisingly different and improved from the original, and how good of a feeling the music in it had.
Like many people, most I would say, I found the year 2020 to be a very odd year, one that I often felt the need to escape from. And I did this by escaping into an older game, one that I hadn't really had the opportunity to do a proper, true deep dive into. In fact, I escaped all the way back to 1899, because the game I was incessantly playing for the first few months of 2020 was Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, of course, it's an amazing game, and a lot of people have written a lot of stuff about it. But what really drew me was the weird stuff. In fact, my version of Arthur Morgan essentially became a sort of Old West paranormal investigator, really exploring the spookier and odder sections of the game. But no matter how weird the stuff I encountered in the Old West was, whether it was a robot or aliens or an abandoned flesh golem laboratory, it was never quite as weird as 2020 itself. So thank you, Red Dead Redemption 2, for helping me escape the weirdness with your weirdness.
Well, that year sucked. I think it's pretty safe to say that nobody wants to actually remember anything from 2020. That being said, I did have a couple pretty good memories that had to do with video games, and all of them had to do with playing games with my son. We spent an incredible amount of time together this year. He wasn't in school for most of the year, so we got to hang out a lot, and we got to play a lot of cool games. We played a lot of Minecraft, which I hadn't played in years, and it turns out still really good, still really fun, tons of new worlds, tons of add-on packs. It's still really awesome, and especially watching him kind of go from creative mode into survival mode and get better and gain confidence was really cool for me. I would say my number one gaming memory, however, was with a little bit more of a mature game, you might say, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake. Watching my son not only play that game, but sort of learn how to play that game. Like, for me, it's muscle memory. We used to play that game, and just your fingers know what to do, to jump, to grind, to kickflip into a manual. Watching him learn that and start to put it together, I swear, tears streaming down my face. Happy tears. There were a lot of bad tears in 2020, but those were happy tears. So thank you, video games. Thank you, Tony Hawk. Thank you, Minecraft. And thank you, Vic, for everything that you've done all year long, keeping us interested in games and just always being a bright spot. I love you and miss you, buddy.